Hi class, Steve Katie here. I'm going to walk you through the instructions for the mind map presentation. This project has been in the works for 20 plus years. When I first graduated from graduate school, I came to Bowling Green State University and we began the process of working in a class called Large Scale Change. In that class, I brought in all the books, articles, and things I could find. There was not a class anywhere I could find in the world, for that matter, that addressed large scale change, looked at large group interventions and so forth. And so we began a journey to uncover and examine and understand these approaches to collaborative change. A lot has changed since then, and a lot of good changes have happened, and this is an exciting time. And what we found is by analyzing the various methods and looking at the patterns across the methods, what emerged was an organizing taxonomy. And that grew into what is now 8 design elements that are inherent in anybody's approach that is scalable and used broadly. It is based on 8 questions that, if answered well, you can take your idea, your method, your approach out into the world. It's also based on how to best understand the various methods, how to dissect them. Think of it like Grey's Anatomy. Once that taxonomy was developed and we began to look at the various subsystems inside the human body, a person can quickly and in a more accelerated fashion understand human anatomy. Similarly, the 8 design elements provide that same kind of experience. And what happened was once we got working on it, and after about 10 years, the taxonomy evolved, and we had a group of students for one of the classes. They were assigned, given the taxonomy, and invited to take the elements and use them to understand or look for patterns across the various methods. And what happened was inspiring. The students came into the first weekend and had already learned everything that there was that we had been learning over the course of the entire semester. And then that grew into, let's take and create this experience so that we can go deeper and begin to learn how to apply these methods. And so now what we're at is we are at a moment where this assignment will accelerate your learning about the methods, but from anywhere from 3 to 5 years, is in my estimation. What you'll do with this assignment is you will look at the following methods here when you look at analyze down here. And you will look at abundant community, John McKnight and Peter Block's work, appreciative inquiry, Dinah and David, and applied improvisation and future search, open space, graphic facilitation, plus 3 other methods from the Change Handbook. And you will also look at liberating structures, which is an amazing new approach, a blending approach to working with the various collaborative change methodologies. And what you'll do is you'll take what is now the 8 elements, 8 design elements. You will take those 8 elements and you'll use them to dissect each of the different methodologies that are listed here, plus the 3 that you liked from the Change Handbook. You will then take, within each dimension, you will look at patterns within each of the 8 design elements. That's all explained in further detail in a variety of support videos. So this intention of my overview here is to give you enough of an overview to get started and know what's required. So now we've got the task. You're gonna do that analysis, and you're gonna do 2 things. In this class, what we're focusing on is your ability to present ideas, to explain them and articulate them. We used to write papers for everything in addition to the presentations. And what I found is that people would benefit, our students in this class and in the program would benefit from a class solely focused on how you take analysis of something, how you translate that into something that is accessible and understandable to others in presentation form. So we're really going to focus on your skills for presenting ideas, information in an instructional and an informative fashion, and a compelling fashion as well. So what you're going to provide here for this class, you're going to do your analysis, you're going to create Google Slides, you're going to use Google Slides, create a presentation, you're going to provide the link to your Google Slides published to the web. You're also going to do a screencast video and a presentation and upload that to YouTube and submit that link. So I can watch a YouTube presentation of your Google Slides. I can also click and look at your Google Slides. You create vanity links. You got some links there. This is just a technique that's important to put in your toolkit. Nice new thing to add for some of you, and some of you already know this. And so you will provide the two links, and that is your submission. What you're going to do, as I mentioned, you're going to analyze these different methodologies, looking for patterns. You're going to create the Pecha Kucha-ish style presentation, not specifically and exactly a Pecha Kucha. And where you depart is you can go from 7 to 10 minutes, and you'll be using words and other types of things in your visuals, but you'll use the Pecha Kucha principles to guide you in making an engaging and an informative presentation. And you will need to use Google Drive, Google Slides, a screencast software. I've got a Screencast-O-Matic is one I suggest. I use a different one called Movavi. You might have one that you like to use to do your screen capture for your presentation. You use vanity URLs like tinyurls or bit.ly or something like that, and YouTube. So you'll be learning to use these tools. And again, in doing the assignments for this class, in working in your teams in this class, in everything that we do in this class, they're all tools that you'll be able to use professionally. And they will be things that will set you apart. Everything that's in this class, every single piece is intended to give you the skills and tools and confidence necessary to do that work that you care about doing in the world, particularly when it's focused on that dream job and the ideal organization, what you want to do next in your life professionally. And so this assignment is intended to support you in that. The evaluation criteria are provided with the assignment. There's a rubric and it's all explained. You'll read all of that. When you click into the assignment instructions, you'll see the rubric, which is complete, professional, thoughtful, and mastery is the fourth criteria, which is did you apply the 8 design elements properly as you evaluated the patterns across the methodologies. Now you got resources. So when you go to the next page, you have required resources and recommended resources. You'll see on the left over here in a tutorial instruction, deeper detail tutorial, and so forth. This will make reference to a written paper, and what you're doing is you now are doing a presentation following the written paper format and flow, or the flow and sequence, and you'll be putting it into a presentation format. You don't have to do a paper anymore at this point in time. And the intention and the reason behind doing that is because I want you to really focus on those presentation skills, those visualization skills, visual and graphic design skills, and those kinds of things. I really want you to dig deeper on those skill sets and take yourself further with that. Now you go into the Change Handbook and Liberating Structures. You got that. What is exciting also, I'll be sharing with you all in the class, is that we're now moving. The Change Handbook is not going to be renewed. I am in the process of finalizing the next iteration of the book. It's called the Collaborative Change Global Guide. It might be called the Collaborative Change Encyclopedia. Feedback I've gotten from students last year, don't use the word encyclopedia. We'll probably talk about that some as well in terms of how to frame this new book out, because it's being presented as a living community of knowledge. It's a 5-set volume, and we're going to have an app. We're going to have a community platform, and we're going to create a community of communities, a global community of communities built on Nexus for Change to take it forward. With that new book, there are some new chapters, and the new chapters are written around the 8 design elements. So right here, you've got 4 of them that have been recast in the 8 design element format. So I look forward to you also reflecting on that and how well that new format for the chapters. You'll notice that the chapters look different for the new edition, for the new book, compared to the Change Handbook. Now, you got the 8 design elements. You've got some articles here. I'm working on a new chapter and a new article that describes the 8 design elements. This Mastering Change article here and the Whole System Transformation article, these 2 are early works and publications on design elements. It was originally 6 and then went to 7, now it's at 8. I don't think it's going to grow beyond 8. And there's a reason. You'll see that of why the 8 are there, and it explains all that. This 8 elements right here, that's the one that lists the 8. And you'll be analyzing yours using those 8 elements and it gives you a nice guide there for that. The process for implementing this assignment is outlined in the pages below. I'll walk you through this. There's a variety of additional resources provided at each step to support you. So what you want to do is make sure you're reviewing these required resources and then go through the process and again review and use these links and these resources to help you do a really good job on your analysis, your affinity diagram, your mind mapping, and then translating that into a presentation. Now on the right hand side, you got recommended resources. Again, you'll find these to be also equally as helpful. In the Picturing the Personal Essay, I love that post. It's a very good one that describes this notion of swimming in the goo. The creative process and your work in collaborative change, when you walk into any type of collaborative event or change situation, you're walking in and a lot of people are overwhelmed. A lot of people cannot make sense of all the moving parts. Your skill set to sit and notice all that is happening around you, to be able to see it in a way that you can organize it and be able to explain it to others, requires to be comfortable in the messiness of any type of change initiative, any type of design process. And Picturing the Personal Essay does a nice job of explaining how our work in collaboration, our work in change, it can't be a linear experience. And so if we try to force a linear experience on something that isn't, it will break. If you take a tree and you have a hurricane and it comes through and that tree doesn't bend, it is going to snap in two. That's why coconut trees last in hurricanes, because they bend with the wind. And so does change need to do the same thing. So does our design process and our ability to facilitate. And then you get into the presentations here, and you got Google Slides, screen capture, PechaKucha, presenting, and creating links. So you got a variety of different tools here that you can put in your toolkit for really for making content, making your ideas, translating them into things that a broad audience can have access to. And it's about advancing your professional brand and your personal expertise. And these are the tools that will help you do that. Building creative confidence is so important. Stepping into and owning and allowing. Pattern language is big within the context of affinity diagramming and rolling that into the mind mapping. The 3 V's, the art of conceptualization. When you articulate something, there are 3 V's: verbal descriptions or persuasion, visual communication, and visceral experiences. And how you describe, write, and articulate and present, it's important to be able to appeal to a person verbally, visually, and viscerally. And that's all explained there. So those are the resources to help you get this assignment done. Now, as you move through the process, you can see you get started and you study your target methods, you pick your 3 that you want, and you begin the process of analyzing with the 8 design elements. You then move through and do an affinity diagram. And let me go up here and just real quick show you one thing. Where do I want to show that? Okay. I'm going to be giving you some example affinity mind map assignments from other students. I'll be sharing that with you. I'm just looking for where that is. But you'll be getting some examples to see. And I try to get you to do some analysis first without trying to just do it mimicking other people, and really to experience what it is to make your own mind up on how to do this work and figure out how to make it, you have to have your own style for doing systems thinking and mapping types of work. So you get started, then you come into step 2, create your affinity diagram. It's a specific technique that is used professionally all around the world in a variety of situations. And there's some links there to help describe it, but you're going to first take the 8 elements, look for patterns, and do affinity diagramming of the methods that you're analyzing. Then you'll take your results from that and create a mind map. Now the mind map, you can depart from doing a traditional mind map. You can do a traditional mind map with a circle in the center, and it has the different circles that it breaks off into and so forth. You can do a creative type of map that really represents the learning. Your choice. Use this as a starting point. But you're going to create it. You're going to turn the affinity diagram into a different kind of visual that really communicates and shows those patterns. You have then step 4 is you need to create your report as a presentation. You're going to take all of the work that you've done, put it into the Google Slides, follow the outline that's below. I'll show you that in a second. You then screen capture a presentation, 7 to 10 minutes. You upload that to YouTube. Make sure it's unlisted. It's either public or unlisted so that people can click on it. It can't be private. And you share your link to the slides and you share your link to the YouTube presentation. And that's what you upload as your assignment. Now when you come down here, you can see your first slide is a title slide. Make your slide number 2 be your, and I actually need to change, I'm going to do this right here, which is your, need to make sure that that's what this is here. And then slide, let me see here, maybe I did it down here. Yeah, slide 2, and then slide 3 right there. Yeah, so that's what that is. What I want you to do is, you have your first slide, title, assignment, and so forth. Then the second slide, you can embed the YouTube video into the Google Slides, and that way you can go into the slides, you can click and actually watch the presentation within the Google Slides. Then you have a table of contents. Then you have a body of your report as a presentation. So you've got your steps here, your introduction. Then you overview the process. You talk about the affinity diagram. You go through the mind mapping. And then you describe how to apply this, some discussion around application of what you've learned in these tools, an after action review debrief, and then references. When you come down here, here's a final thing or piece of a resource around video presenting with Pechakucha style. And remember, you're not doing exactly Pechakucha, you're doing Pechakucha-ish, meaning you can go 7 to 10 minutes and you can use words and other kinds of things in your presentation. And that is it. Oops, one last thing. We'll be talking about it, and it's important as you do your 3 V's up here. When we talk about the 3 V's, when you're doing your slides, I want you to think and be very mindful of 3 kinds of visuals that are being used. Ornate, complementary, and instructive. A lot of people use ornate, pretty pictures and things that don't quite do a whole lot other than just make the slide look a little prettier or fancier, those kinds of things. That's fine. That's not enough. And so grabbing clip art and dropping clip art in is not the kind of visuals we're looking for you to use. Use that as ornate to really make things look a little prettier. Complementary, that's where you go one step further, where there's some clip art that might help explain your point or might complement your point. Really doesn't explain it, actually complements the point that you're making. And then instructive is truly visuals that help us learn. And that's where you get into, when you look in these presentations here, you'll see more about the notion of creating visuals where people can learn flow charts and diagrams and other ways of really helping someone when they look at a picture, they learn and better understand what you're saying. That'll be important for you to do. So that's enough for now. I look forward to talking with you more and working with you through this process.